Welcome everyone. Thank you for visiting. This episode will be about the African violet standard and large varieties that are growing and blooming for me in the month of June of 2025. We're at the end of the month and I thought it would be good to film this episode today. So here on this windowsill, I have assembled for you a few of them, and then I'll be adding some more as I keep describing them. So let's start with a vintage variety by Harold Reinhardt called Happy Harold. It has beautiful variegation on leaves, and it is finishing its blooming cycle. The blooms on this are very simple. They are purple or dark wine pansies. They're not very large in size, but they play really nicely with leaf variegation, and together they create a really pleasing visual effect on this plant. Happy Harold. Here is an upcoming beauty. This is also a vintage variety, a very young plant by Champion called Cabbage Patch. This is crown variegation here, and the younger foliage now looks almost plain green, dark green. Variegation is on the older leaves, and it has beautiful, full, very, very light, delicate blush pink blooms. This is the second blooming cycle, I believe. It's not a very fast grower, but it's certainly a very beautiful vintage variety by Champion, Cabbage Patch. Here is a non-stop blooming machine. That's what I call this variety. It's Cajun's Hot Expectation, keeping on blooming. Believe it or not, this is still the first blooming cycle, but because it's ongoing, I don't even know if I should call it first blooming cycle or the second blooming cycle. It's basically just blooming for a few months. And I'm seriously thinking that I should maybe remove the blooms and let it grow some foliage. I'm not sure what to do with it. It's just really beautiful sight to see with hot pink, double blooms, very profuse bloomer. Cajun's Hot Expectations. Here is a favorite of many, Rose Bouquet. This is the second plant that I have. I do have two plants, I have to admit. It's so beautiful that I just can't have just one plant of this. It's Mosaic Variegated variety. Look at the foliage. And smaller in size, double rose-shaped blooms. Here is a hybrid by Tatiana Pugacheva called PT-Ianina. This is just the first bloom. As you can see, you can compare by size. It's described as a standard, but it grows more as a large variety for me. Very good symmetrical growing habit on this, dark green foliage, and in contrast, very light blush pink, almost white blooms. PT-Ianina. And next to it is a hybrid by Svetlana Repkina. This is a mature plant called RS-Tsyganka Aza, or to translate it would be Aza the Gypsy Girl. It grows really large leaves that are the size of the palm of my hand, and star-shaped, dark burgundy. They look lighter on camera. Blooms with some pencil edge. Beautiful variegation on this one. And if you think these are the largest plants in my collection, wait till I show you the largest growing variety for me at the end of this episode. So if you'd like to see it, watch this video to the end. Here is a second display of the standard and large growing African violet varieties that are currently in bloom, except for one, this one. But let's start with Buckeye My Oh My. This is a large growing variety by Pat Hancock. This is the second blooming cycle here, and it has more pink now that we have warmer growing temperatures. And in comparison, in the cold growing temperatures, it has more white in the blooms. Beautiful foliage for variegation, very symmetrical growing habit, and good bloomer. Buckeye My Oh My. And I think those of you that grow this variety, of course, instantly recognized it. This is Anne, a vintage variety by Betty Bryant. Not blooming at the moment because it was repotted a while back and I just let it grow its foliage. And it's known for the longifolia variegated foliage that is spectacular in my eyes. And by Betty Bryant. This is Eva by Linden Line Greenhouse's Paul Serrano. Very young plant, first blooming cycle. It has variegated foliage, very good grower, easy grower for me. I grew it from a leaf that I got really several years back from Tropical World Nursery, I believe. And this one has fantasy blooms, and my plant always creates faint fantasy kind of on the main petals, and it depends on the temperature. And then here, for example, the younger one has more fantasy, and then sometimes it has streaks on the petals that look very dramatic on this plant, and I find it adorable. Next one is a No ID violet that I got a while back as well from the Canoga Park Green Thumb Nursery when I lived in California. It grows really well for me. Very symmetrical as well. Some people believe it's an Optimara Ever Beautiful. It might be. I got it without the name tag, and it has dark purple blooms with green ruffled edge, and it's a good bloomer. No ID. This one is Ian-Sahara. It's a crown variegated standard with golden crown variegation and peach coral blooms. And in the summer, I noticed they kind of bloom not very large size blooms, but when the cooler growing temperatures, the blooms can look very spectacular and much larger. And I have a shorts feature video blooming in the cool temperatures, and you can see the difference. Ian-Sahara. And finally, here is another Cajun, Cajun's Flamboyant Mistress. This needs major grooming. This is the second blooming cycle, and you can see it's growing suckers here, which is a result of me using the slow release fertilizer in my potting mix. Those of you who are new to this channel, I made a new recipe. I tried a new recipe in January, and I started using it on all of these plants. And some of them responded well. That new recipe had slow release fertilizer. And then other varieties started growing suckers more than usual. So I decided I'll make a follow-up video on the observations that I made during the 6 months after I started using slow release fertilizer in the wicked African violets in particular. And I will be making this video next month in July, so stay tuned for that. I kept the Buckeye My Oh My here on the last display, and this is the last set here for today's episode of the large varieties and standards. And the Buckeye My Oh My is here for comparison to the next plant that is the largest growing variety right now in my collection. It measures 16 inches across right now, in comparison to Buckeye My Oh My measuring 14 inches in diameter. This is Apache Freedom. And I think it's described as a standard, but for me, in the slow release fertilizer potting mix recipe, it's growing really well, and I think it's nearing the large size at this point. It is not in bloom yet, but it has quite a few flower buds looking to open. So this is an upcoming beauty, and right now I'm just enjoying the foliage and I'm sharing this beauty with you. Apache Freedom. Next to it is another plant that looks large, but it is also a standard. This is also an upcoming beauty, lots of buds in there under the leaves, but right now it's just coming out from the rest. This is my most favorite Optimara Yosemite with Roman numeral II. And it is a gorgeous plant, even though the leaves are just plain green, but I'm enjoying the way it's growing for me and blooming when it's in bloom. So I always treasure this variety, Optimara Yosemite with Roman numeral II. Here next is a young plant, and compare the size. This is a standard in the description, and this one as well. It's a smaller standard with mosaic variegation, very young plant, a new variety for me called Lilian Jarrett. And the leaves here, of course, are as beautiful, if not more beautiful, than the blooms. The blooms are delicate, light pink. I believe they're double or maybe semi-double. And the bloom stalks are not very strong, at least from what I have observed with this plant. So mostly I'm enjoying it for the beautiful foliage. Here is a young plant of another Optimara Trinidad with Roman numeral II. And finally, here is another variety that looks large, and it measures 14 inches across, just like Buckeye My Oh My and Optimara Yosemite II. So this one is Siberian Moon. It is a shy bloomer, but it is constantly producing new flower buds and bloom stalks. So it keeps on blooming, even though modestly, but of course, in combination with the beautiful foliage, it looks really well. Very pleasing to the eye. Siberian Moon.